We are just waiting another 2-3 minutes, and then so a few more people, maybe the late joiners, and then we can start the session. And yeah, I hope you all guys are doing well in the lockdown. Looks like all the who just joined. Hi Gagan, welcome to the session.
Hey, Mrityunjay.
Hey. I think we can start with the introduction, and maybe we'll wait for a few more people to join to moving forward. So hi everyone, this is Mrityunjay, and let me just check with Anjani that whether he has just started recording or not. Hello Anjani, are you there? Just a minute. Anyway, I think continue. Maybe he just started. Yeah. So as you can see on the screen, this session is AWS session, and I am Mrityunjay Girl, and I'm a cloud certified and a data expert, and I'm currently staying in Singapore and working with the bank, and then I'm just sharing my cloud knowledge, whatever I learned in the AWS. Uh, just a couple of months back, I just done my certification, so I started sharing the knowledge, and then we thought of this session to start with. And as you can see, this is the cloud session, AWS cloud session, and this is part of the multi-cloud for you, organizing this multiple cloud session, and it's it's a part of the migration session which we have saw earlier in the day, and it's just an extension to that. Yeah. And this session mostly we are targeting to do 8:30 p.m. IST to 9:30 p.m. IST. We will try to cover this is the first session. So what I will do is like we will try to cover the basic kickstart session or basic of the cloud and basic of the AWS, and going forward we will, as we move forward with this kind of session, then we will go a little bit more deeper inside the concepts and understanding. And okay, moving to just a minute. There's some issue, I think. Yeah. This is about me. This is about me. As I already mentioned about my certification on the cloud, I have, apart from that, I have many years of direct service to banking and IT industry. And I have also many years of teaching and mentorship experience. And you can see my LinkedIn profile using the link below. Then this is about Anjani. If you, many of you already know about him already. He's a founder of MultiCloud for You and mentor, enabler and evangelist and entrepreneurs. He had a multiple years of entrepreneurship experience and direct services into IT. And yeah, thanks to him that I'm getting this chance to speak on this AWS, using the MultiCloud for You platform. Moving forward, so this is about more sessions, how we can join these streams, and so this session is also streaming online, and you can also go and watch. And then it is every day re-streams between 7 to 11 IST India time. Yeah. Moving forward, let's talk about this course objective. As I mentioned that this is a AWS foundation course, or AWS, like, cloud certifications. So what is the course objective of this whole series of the session which we are planning and which we are going to do in our coming future is, I'm just going to talk about, so what we are going to do is, like, we are going to define the cloud computing and AWS, using AWS cloud. We are going to talk about the AWS cloud, and maybe we can compare with other clouds as well. Then we are going to describe the key services on AWS platform, mainly the common use cases. Maybe we can take one or two use case and you can see how it works. Then we will go and see that AWS cloud architectural principle. What is the basic principle about the AWS cloud? Then uh, after that, we are going to talk about the basic security and what is the AWS shared responsibility model around the security principle. We will cover that. Then we are going to talk about the billing, account management, and pricing, and we are going to understand the economics of the AWS cloud. So how much going to charge, like the account is managed, and each and every bit of the pricing things. And then we are going to understand the tools and services support that AWS provides. So this is the whole agenda for not this session, but this course series of the session, which going to be follow. What is the prerequisites of to understand this session is, you must be a little bit IT technical knowledge, where you can at least understand the technical language a little bit, and then you maybe have general IT business knowledge, so you can also understand. So either of them, like, if you are having knowledge of either of these two, then you can understand this very well. Now, talking about the intended audience. So this course is basically, or these sessions basically useful for, like, the people working in sales, legal, marketing, then business analysts, then a few AWS academic students who want to understand the AWS, then IT related professionals, developers who basically want to understand about the AWS basic and understand how the cloud works and all. Yeah. Moving on to this course module. So what I have done is, like, I have divided this course into few modules, and as part of the module one, I'm going to cover, like, AWS cloud concepts, which we are doing today. Starting today, I will try to cover a few concepts, and then maybe you can follow from there. Then we have another modules, AWS core services. Then we have AWS security. Then AWS architecting. Then AWS pricing and support. So we have these 5 modules, which we are going to cover in next few months over period of few weeks, few sessions. And this already covered the the first slide which I mentioned. These all modules will cover those as well. Yeah. Moving forward, so this is uh, where we are talking about the cloud computing, or I'm talking about introduction to AWS. So if you can see this slide, I'm not sure, like, many of you already know about the cloud, because I think it's already there since so long. If you are not knowing about the cloud, then you can just understand cloud as not the cloud which is like a rain, but it's something related to a data data centers, or kind of, much larger than that. When we'll go deep into that, then I'll show you how big it is, and then you can see unlimited amount of space, storage space, unlimited amount of computing power, and all this connected together. And so there's so many applications, storage, servers, and database connected together, and then this platform cloud computing. This is comes as like on-demand delivery of IT resources. So it's like a pay-as-you-go pricing. So mainly how the concepts arise is like whatever you use, you have to just pay for that. You don't have to pay for whole resources. Like, you don't have to pay for servers. You don't have to pay for uh, databases and other storage which you are not using. You just you are just paying for what you are using. Yeah. So this is a basic high level understanding of the cloud computing. Then we are talking about cloud computing, but what is before that? So I have a small use case for that to understand, what is the traditional data centers. And coming back from the software background, I was not understanding earlier what is the data centers and all. But from infrastructure perspective, you understand data center is something where you have so many servers and you have database storage and you have application servers as well. So you have application servers, file storage, and database storage as well. So I have a unique use case where, like, there's a company which want to set up a small, just a startup, and they have set up some application, and then they set up a data center in Singapore, and suddenly the users grow. So what happened is, after some time, they realized that they want more capacity to increase, and that they went to increase the capacity. Then it will take maybe 3 to 4 months or 6 months to get all the additional servers, application servers, as well as file servers, as well as database servers. Now, going forward, what they understand, like, their demand in the Australia is growing, this kind of application. So what they have gone and then built another data center in Australia or Sydney. And subsequently, they realize after 6 months or 1 year that, okay, they have some demand in India as well. And then they have gone and then they built a data center over there. So what we are talking about here is the time. So if you see the time factor, it's like building these whole data centers in Singapore, Sydney, and Mumbai or India. It will take maybe 1.5 year, 1 to 1.5 year. It total time duration. In addition, what they have realized is, like, when they have built the data center in India, they made operational, but the users are not coming because they have already switched to another version or another applications, similar kind of applications. So what they have to do is, like, there are no use of that data center, and or there is a very less consumption of the data center, and and they have to bear that all the cost. So this is how the traditional data centers works. Moving forward, there's one more additional couple of questions coming in mind, like, what is the on-prem database or on-premise database or a traditional data center. So is there enough resource capacity? If you saw the previous example I mentioned, is like we have to build additional capacity, which take maybe 6 months or maybe few months time at least. Is this sufficient storage? And you still don't know, like, whether it's a sufficient for your uh, requirement. Like, if users are growing uh, significantly, then is it sufficient or not? And then if you can see the traditional IT system, there are so many layers. Why I mentioned 6 months to take a data center, because of there are so many things involved, like networking, storage, servers, virtualizations. If you are from an infra background, then you can understand all the uh, little things I have mentioned over in the traditional IT center. What is the disadvantage we have is we have large upfront investment. So before knowing about the success of my project or the startup, we have to invest a lot of money in the traditional data center. Then we have forecasting. Demand is difficult. We cannot forecast the demand, that, okay, how much demand is going to be there. It's very difficult to forecast it. Then slow to deploy. As I already mentioned, it's very slow to deploy the data centers and servers because it takes few months. And I think if you guys, there maybe I assume there may be multiple guys from the IT background and the experience, then they can understand, like, how slow these things work. And then what is the last point is like we own all the security and compliance burden. So we have to go through all the security testing, all the security things, and all the compliance burden. So these are the things coming from the on-premises or traditional data center. Now moving to AWS. So what is the benefits AWS gives? So AWS provides already servers, databases, storage, and higher level of applications. So there are so many things already in place and many data centers are there in the AWS, and you can get whatever you demand, you can just quickly get it. Moving forward a little bit more about the AWS, why it is useful or why any other cloud or AWS is useful, because resources can be initiated within seconds. So I'll show you how fast it is when we will go to a little bit more demo and understand about the tools on AWS applications. But for now, just understand like, you just order and on click of a button, your resources is already ready to be used. Treat as temporary and disposable. What it means is like, that resources are temporary. So you can go use it how much you want to use, you can just use it and just terminate it as soon as your work is done. And you have to just pay whatever amount you are using. So that's why I already mentioned that pay as you go. That is a basic thing, which is coming with all the cloud providers or especially with AWS. Then what it says is like free from the inflexibility and constraints. So there's no it's all flexible there, and there's no constraint on you to do anything of that. You can just go whenever, whatever you want, you can use. I think someone is not unmuted. Ravikant, can you just please mute your mic? Yeah, sorry. Okay, let me come back. It looks like, yeah, moving forward. Here we are talking about the type of cloud computing. So, as you may be aware of, so we talk about the cloud computing, but there are many type of companies or many type of firms are in here. Like we have banking, we have government firms, we have private sectors, we have consulting firms, we have healthcare. So which comes with a different kind of their own problems. They have to keep their data very private. They cannot share any information to other providers, or like they don't want to share or put their data outside their office premises, or maybe there are so many kind of scenarios are there. And that's why if you go into the market, you can see that there are three kind of uh, cloud we understand. Basically there's a public cloud where the visitors and employee, like if you go and understand, this is accessible by all the publics. So when I am talking about my AWS account, my personal AWS account, I'm talking about my uh, personal account, and then it's a pure public cloud provider. When I'm talking about private cloud, what it means is like we have a bank or maybe government organizations, and they have their own cloud system and their own cloud infrastructure, where they have already set up the data centers and all the necessary networks, virtual machines, and everything they have set up, and then you can use that. So that is part of the private cloud. And what it means, what is hybrid cloud? So there are some company where they want the public cloud as well as the private cloud. Like there's some of the data they can expose to the or they can share or they can store into the public domain, or I would say the third party provider domain. But there are many information or many data or many processing or many system they want to maintain on their own premises privately, and that's why this system called um, this one, like hybrid cloud, came in picture. It's a mix of public and private both. And one more information regarding this course or this session I'm talking about, at end of every session, I may ask one question and then you can answer it. And we can plan something, going forward. Maybe after a few sessions, we can plan something good for this. So I just wanted to understand or test that, how how much concentrated you are when you are doing the session or you are attending this. So whether you are able to answer the questions or not, which may be because what we are targeting is like after doing this all sessions, you might be sitting for the AWS Cloud Practitioners exam, and then you can clear that. Yeah. Moving ahead, what is the benefits of AWS Cloud Computing? So you can see my screen. It's easy to use, secure, storage unlimited, pay per use. Like I already mentioned, like whatever you are using, you are just paying for that. Access multi-region backups. So what is multi-region? I think you will understand better when I will maybe explain this multi-region things in maybe next session. And then databases, we are talking about databases. So all the informations are there. Apart from that, there are a few more benefits I'll talk about. The one is like, we just saw that guessing thing, so we don't have to guess the capacity. Stop guessing about capacity. So what it means is like, whatever capacity we need or you need, it's available there. So that's why it's saying cloud. So it's like it's unlimited capacity they have. Less capex. So what is capex? Capex is capital expenditure upfront. When we are setting up something, we have to pay upfront, and that's why I said like it's a less capex or upfront expense. So we don't have or less or like almost minimal expense required at the start. And what we do is like whatever we use, we will just pay for that. Then increase speed and agility. What I mentioned already, like within a few seconds, just click of a button, your resource is ready, and then in a minute, your maybe server or a few minutes, your server is ready to consume. So it's a speed and agility. So if I am creating some projects, I don't have to wait for a few months or 1 month or a few months to just set up and go and test and become production. The second benefit is like if my user base increase, then I maybe increase my capacity. And if it is not increasing, then I'll just use as per minimum requirement. What other is like go global in minutes. So when we will go and talk about the region, then it's almost globally available. AWS is available almost all of the country or regions, I would say. And then you can just within a minute you can just go from one region to another region. So it's not required like few months and getting clearance from there and setting up something physical over there. It just as easily it's available over there, like from one region to another region. Setting up is very fast. What is the benefits of massive economies? So what it means is like, because why this is a little bit cheaper when you are using to setting up your own servers. Even the cost of the servers is less because AWS is buying those things in the bulk, and that's why from the vendor itself it's getting cheaper, and that's why it's providing a little bit cheaper. Now I think this is a little bit basic about the uh, cloud and AWS. To start with this session, what I will do is like let's take a look at AWS Management Console, and I will just take you through how to set up your account, because we have a free account available for 12 months. AWS gives a free account and everyone can use that and go and play there. So I'll just bring you to the console, and after coming back, once I'll do the demo, then after that coming back, I'll ask the questions. Yeah. So let's go back to my screen. Yeah, so if you see my screen, so this is a aws.amazon.com, and here what we can do is like we can create a free account. If I click here, then what usually it will do is like it will bring to a screen. Okay, just go back. Let me just go back to another account. Okay, let me do from here. Yeah. Okay, so what it means is like AWS account. If you don't have any account with AWS, then what they usually give is they give 12 months of free tier access. This usually provide multiple benefits. Wait a minute, I think someone is unmuted. Yeah, Arun, please mute it. Later we will go into the question answer session, then we will unmute it. Yeah. So this basically give a lot of things like all the basic things. I would say uh, including EC2, Amazon S3, and DynamoDB. I'll explain later when it will come. I'm just going to create a new account. I'll just guide you through how to create an account over there. Maybe I'll just put this is just a dummy account. I'm just putting a dummy account. I already have account, so I'm just putting a dummy account here. But you can put your own user. You can put your own email ID. Then you can put password, some password, and then you can put your AWS account name. This could be maybe similar to what I'm doing here. Yeah, someone messaging. How many months benefit we get for this? Okay, 12 months. Yes, yes, Bharat, correct. You get 12 months, and then I'll show you a link. I'll share later a link where you can go and see like what are the things benefits you get. Like if you just go back here, then you have this page AWS free tier, and then it will show you what is the always free. There are a lot of things always free. There are few things 12 months free. There are few things short-term trial. Like if you talk about compute, what is the compute per month free? Then we are talking about a storage. Then we are talking about database. Yeah, this asks for credit. Yes, correct. Yes, Deepak, this asks for credit card, but don't worry, it will not charge. It will just charge a $1 kind of, for authentication, and they will not charge you anything else if you are not using. If you are using anything more than, I have used Azure, this looks better than this. Yes, maybe Bharat, because Azure, I think usually give 1 month free, but however, AWS give you 12 months free subscription where you can use. I'm just showing you how to do the next for other audience, and then we'll talk about then we have to choose the personal account from here. So because professional is something for the company, so what we are doing is personal. I'm just putting some random phone number. Then I'm putting, okay, so I am based out of Singapore, but you can put your own region. So I'm putting my region. Then I have to put, um, no, yeah. So Bharat, to answer your question, credit limit, I think it's the page I shown you. That was the limit. They have mentioned already 750 hours, 5 GB, 750 hours. So all these services they mention about this. So how much 1 million Lambda expressions. So it all mentioned over here. Yeah. Okay. So going back to this, then city I put Singapore. Then I put something, some dummy information. I'm just putting for example. Yeah. I'll just put this create account. It's asking for credit card information for your purpose. I'm just putting here something. I think 4 6. Wait a minute. 4 6 4 6 7 8 1 1. Yeah, you can put something and then card holder name. Maybe I'm putting test. Then okay. Then after that, you can see the text message. Then you can see you put your cell number. You put your cell number. Then put this. Then they will send a SMS. And once the SMS, you confirm the SMS, then after that they will create your account. Yeah, so this is the process to create account. What I have is I have already account with AWS, so I'll directly log in over there and then I'll show you how it looks like. Yeah, so if I already have account, I'll go to the sign in console and then so there's two things here. If you can see my screen, it's showing two things like root user and IAM user. Latter part of the session, maybe next when we will talk about security. When I will talk about security, then maybe I'll explain this. What is these two things? How these two are different. But for now, I'll just using the root user account. I'm just using my account, then putting my password, and then I'm just logging, and it will log into this AWS console. So this is how it looks like. If you go to so this is a dashboard where it is showing me the recently visited services. Then it is showing me all the services. So if you see, there are so many services under different category like compute. We have EC2, Lightsail, Lambda, Batch, Elastic Beanstalk, then AWS Outpost, then EC2 Image Builder, then we have container services, then we have storage, S3 EFS, S3 Glacier, Storage Gateway, AWS Backup. What are these all things? We will talk in details later. Then we have database like RDS, DynamoDB. RDS is like a relational database. DynamoDB is similar to the NoSQL like MongoDB. Elastic Cache is like a kind of a cache database. Then you have a Redshift, which is data warehouse. Then we have a document DB, Cassandra, if you see here. And then I can't see one more. I think there's Aurora also, which will come. Then we have a migration and transfer services. Then we have network and content where we have a VPC, CloudFront, Route 53, API gateway. These all are most of the services. Actually, if I go, but so it all the different category like robotics has a different things or blockchain, satellite services. Then we have management and governance where like AWS organization, CloudWatch, auto scaling, cloud formation, cloud trail, OpsWorks. So there are like ton of services there. Someone have questions? What is mean? What is mean by managed Cassandra? Is that the Cassandra DB? Yeah, I think it's almost similar to the Cassandra DB services, but it's a AWS product. Yeah. Then we have a machine learning. We have so many things like SageMaker, CodeGuru, Lex, Poly, so many deep lens, deep pressure. There are so many things like analytics. We have Athena, EMR, Cloud Search. Okay, so these are like the like security. If you go, then I'm talking about IAM, which I already saw in the login window. If we saw IAM account and what is that, I will talk about that later. Then we have guard duty, inspector, single sign-on. Then we have cost management, where we will of course cover this in the we will cover this AWS cost management. Sorry, I think I clicked something. Yeah. This cost management will serve, uh, we will cover under the pricing, and when we'll cover pricing, then we'll see this thing. Then we have application integration, where a step functions, and there are so many other things like message queue, event breeze, Internet of Things. So there are so many services. Now, if I'll go, I need to find out here. It will take a lot of time. So how I find easily is like I can just type here like EC2, and then it will automatically showing me. Otherwise I can go to here EC and I can see that all the services again, and then maybe I can show okay EC2, like what is this EC2 service. Then I can see Redshift. So we have Amazon Redshift. So if you just type a little bit here, then it will automatically come. Yeah. Before going to here, like, and you can sort by group or you can sort by A to Z, like A to Z. You have so many services. I think maybe more than 200 services or something like that you have. So this is all the AWS services, and I'll show you in detail in coming sessions how we can go and create that EC2 instance and all those things in a detail little bit. I'll show you one more things today, but before going to that, I'll try to just cover this console and this screen and try to make you familiar. What is this? If you see here, it's something showing as Singapore. Why it is Singapore? So if I just click on this drop down, then it's, if you see, this is showing US is North Virginia, Ohio, then California, then Oregon, then we have Hong Kong, Mumbai, Seoul, and Singapore, then Sydney, Tokyo, Canada, and then so many other regions. So what is this? This is basically nothing but AWS regions. So basically, my account is currently in Singapore, so that's why I can say Singapore. If I want something different, I can go and change here, and suddenly my account will switch to the Northern Virginia, and I can go and create this EC2 instance or any other services, and it will automatically apply to this region. There are so many services which is not applicable from one region or transferable from one region to another region. Yeah, so which will come under like a little bit more deep when we see a little bit more about it, then we will get to understand about it. Yeah. Another question: what is the purpose of changing the region? Any specific purpose of yes, Bharat, there are many purpose. Actually, if you understand a little bit better about it, then we require sometime I require, let's say, I have a file in Singapore, and then I have a backup file, and then I want to move this to Northern Virginia. Then I have to set up some uh, read replica or some cross region replication. So those kind of things, or maybe I want to set up some new uh, image, like I would say like a virtual machine in Singapore, and I want to copy the same virtual machines over there, or kind of I want to do a same setup in the Northern Virginia, then I need to different region, because when I talk about the Northern Virginia, this is a US region. This is all US region, North America, and this is what we are talking about, the Asia Pacific. And like and if I want, like I can take Mumbai, or I can choose Singapore. So whatever the region I want to change, I can change from here, and then I can start doing whatever. So this is one thing which I wanted to show you guys. Then you can see this is alert. I think when you do something, then this alert will come. Then another thing is like I can go to my account, then I can go to my organization, then my billing dashboard, which I wanted to show you. So if you go to my billing dashboard, and I think Bharat asked the question that whether they will charge your credit card or not. So what is they basically show you is like last month to date. So they basically show you the estimated charges, and what is the kind of what is the current use. So there are so many cost explorer, budget explorer. We can go and see all these things. Yeah, we can go and set up alert as well. And yeah, I can say one thing: manage your cost and usage using budget. Yeah. So we can go and set up all these bills. I can go and see like what are the bills, what is my budget. I'm not using anything like, if you the best way is to best way to work on AWS, I can see so far is like, just go, do your work, do your hands dirty, whatever you want to do, and then don't forget to delete that account. Sorry, don't delete that service. I mean, so let's say if I just go create a EC2 instance, like which is a virtual machine, I just launch a instance. Can we do all things we do in Azure, like VM created etc. we do in Azure? Do we need to stop the VM once we finished our job? Actually, yes, you can do the same thing. So if you compare the virtual machine with AWS, then if you see this compute, so this is all the compute part, and EC2 is something where elastic compute services. This is something similar to the virtual machine in the Azure. So you can create your instance, you can keep it here, and free tier eligible. Always create, if you see this instance, always it is showing here free tier eligible or not. So whenever you are creating, you make sure that you are creating free tier eligible, and that's why it will not charge you any amount. And you can also see the header size. It will show you the size here, different size. And this is one which like T2 micro, which is free tier eligible. If I choose any other, then it will charge me automatically. Of course, it will charge me a little bit amount on my credit card, but if you just delete it, if you just keep it running for no use, then of course it will charge you for that. Yeah, but make sure that you will, whenever you are creating, you will create this. This is a little bit deeper technical session where I'll maybe cover these things in going forward another session. So this session is just to cover the basics and just make you feel you guys like a little bit kind of familiar with the dashboard or console, I would say. Uh, any other questions related to the console, or we move back to the PowerPoint? You may ask your questions later also. Okay, thanks. Uh, when I was mentioned about the free tier details, here you can see this is like 750 hours per month. So when I was mentioned like, if you create any EC2 instance and it is running for 750 hours in a month, then there is no charge. And if you see here, it's already mentioned that, what is T2.micro or T3 micro, what are the details. Then if you are using some file storage, then you can use 5 GB of a standard storage. Then if you are using the Amazon RDS, which is like if you see all the MySQL, Postgres, MariaDB, Oracle, or SQL, then you can use 750 hours per month. I think it's per month. Yes, correct. Then you have another thing like 25 GB of the NoSQL, like DynamoDB is NoSQL software for the AWS. Then we have a Lambda expression, which is a little bit uh, uh, no computing services, like no server or serverless service, which we will cover later. Then there's another few services which is there. There are many more services are there. You can just go to this and then uh, just search for the AWS free tier and you'll get all these informations about that. Yeah. Moving back to my questions, as I promised at the start, uh, I'm going to ask a question, and I just wanted to understand, trying to understand, like whether you can you are able to answer it or not. Maybe if you answer it, then you just answer in the chat window. The question is this, like so INS Global, it's a company, runs several production workloads in its data center. They are using VMware to have cloud-like infrastructure in the data center. They want to use AWS and integrate it with their data center for new workloads. Which cloud type would be company be following? So if you saw that cloud type, I have already explained you about that cloud type, what kind of cloud type uh, we can use in this situation. Yeah. I'm going to open the chat session later. You just answer it. I'll just take 30 seconds and maybe then after that, I'll just move to the answer of it. So how to tackle this kind of situations is this kind of answer is first, what I learned from my experience is first, you just get rid of. So if I'll just move forward, then first you just get rid of that answer which is not relevant, because what is clear here, like which cloud type would his company be following. Now, this on-premise is not a cloud type, and that's why I get rid of this question. So you just need to try to understand this. And then after that, if I'll move a little bit forward, then I have an answer here is like answer C, which is hybrid cloud. Why? Because they already have a VMware and they have already here saying have a cloud like infrastructure. So they already have a cloud like infrastructure and they also want to use the AWS. So they already have a private cloud and they want a public cloud because AWS is a public cloud. So they want a private and public both, which comes under hybrid cloud. Yeah. So this is the answer. And let me see the chat. Yeah, Deepak got it right. Bharat also got it right. Vishal also got it right. Yeah, you guys got it right. Yeah, thanks. Moving forward. So yeah, that comes the end of the session for today. And in clearing a solution architect. Actually, Deepak, frankly speaking, the concepts we are covering into this session, this is basically targeting the cloud practitioner exam. But of course, if you are going for the solution architect exam, then you may need a little bit more services and more deep into that. And because this basic course, we are going to cover all the basics, but of course, it will help you to understand each this exam practical based. Um, not exactly. It's actually the exam is going to be like similar, like where you have a multiple choice answer questions, multiple choice questions, and then you have to answer this. So my example was something similar to that. Changing regions. Yes. So yeah. So answer your question. Wait a minute. What is the benefit of Vishal? So Vishal, the changing region, as I mentioned, is like it's just required when we are setting up to another region, or let's say I'm based out of Singapore. So I am doing something in the Singapore, and my friend or my another colleague or company location is in Australia, and they have set up something in the Australia, and I have to do something there. So I can just change my region and then do from the same account. That is one part. Plus another part is like, of course, we want to switch to those regions which is very near to that. Like if you are based out of India, then of course you will select Mumbai as your region and then you set up all those things. But if you are but if your project is or target customer is based out of Singapore or based out of any other location, then you may be choosing those locations. Yeah. How is the demand going forward for AWS practitioners in India and overseas in post-COVID world? Actually, Deepak, to answer your questions, also support automation service. Yes, if you already written AJ 900, it's kind of a similar, a basic certification, the first certification of the AWS. And this is something which proves you that at least you know the cloud and you are not the layman or newbie in the cloud. At least you understand the fundamentals of the cloud. So let's say if you are going for any kind of interview or exam or somewhere, and then they were asking like, okay, do you know cloud? If you are doing any sales, any other things, it's not from only technical perspective, but if you know anyone talking about the cloud, then if you have this certification, then you can talk about that. Okay, I know the basic of certifications, I know the pricing, I know the infrastructure, I know the security principles. So yeah, so there it is very helpful. So of course it is better than you're not knowing the cloud. Coming back to your another question, does AWS also support automation service like UiPath, Blueprint? Can we also run bots in this environment? This is something which is a little bit more technical, Deepak, and I'm not sure like if it is part of this session, but anyway, we will going forward, we will try to look into this and then we will cover this. Yeah, we'll try to cover that answer. Is we find the hosting and center in Singapore and one region account we can see. Sorry. We find this hosting, enter in Singapore and one region account. We can select it provided we want optimal performance. So sorry, Bharat, can you ask a question? One has India region account. Okay, so is this like you are answering the question or you are asking a question? I think if you want, you can unmute yourself and then ask a question as well. I'm just answering. Okay, thanks. Thanks for answer. Yeah. Guys, any other questions if you have? We are open for questions, queries. What is the frequency of these webinars? Yeah. So this is basically a weekly session, every Saturday. Yeah. So if you go back and I think let me exit from here, go back to original session. So yeah, no, not this one. I think if you go to our flyer or this meetups, then we will, or if you go to this multi-cloud, if you go to here, like if you go to streams at multi-cloud framework, then multi-cloud for you, then you can see all these sessions detailed over here. And you can see this is basically a Saturday. Mostly it's a Saturday 8:30 p.m. AWS session. It's depend upon mostly we are trying to cover all the Saturdays, but no, maybe sometime we will not all the sessions. You will get informed. So you just maybe join our meetup group or any other channel, WhatsApp channel or any other things, and or keep referring this multicloudforyou.com /streams, and we'll post all the details over there. Yeah. What is the frequency? Yes, and the other things is like, if you see this session is already a stream online on the Facebook, and if you go to here also, like in the TV sections, and every day from 7 to 11, between 7 to 11, we will retelecast all these sessions. You can go see the many sessions, many of our sessions, past sessions on this website, MultiCloud for you, or you can also refer to our YouTube channel, or you can just watch the that TV or radio every evening, and we will telecast over there. Yeah, Manish, to answer your questions, all the sessions are recorded over here, or you have the YouTube link. If you are on YouTube, then you can go search for multi-cloud for you. Yeah, and you can have all these sessions recorded over there. Yeah, so you can find all these sessions here in the multi-cloud. So we have multiple sessions related to since the name itself says like multi-cloud. So we cover Azure, we cover Alibaba Cloud, we cover AWS. We are also going to in future talking about the GCP, and there are many other content as well. Like it's some related to big data, some related to some different things. Yeah. Can we see the past sessions? Yeah. Today's sessions will be available after how many days in the portal? Mostly it will be available, I think, from Monday. It may be re-telecasted from Monday, and then it's going to be available soon. Yeah. And yeah, it is also available in the Facebook channel, I think, MultiCloud for you Facebook page as well. You can go and refer from there because it's recorded and streamed over there. Yeah, as well. You can refer there. Any other questions, guys? Any other questions, comments, suggestions? You feel free to post, or you can just write us, or yeah. What are the parameters one needs to consider when deciding which cloud one should opt, Azure, AWS, GCP? Yeah, that's a nice question, Arun. Basically, it's depend upon type of okay, what kind of platform you are going, or what kind of current platform you are having or you are using, and what is mainly your company or your choice should be. So they, if you go about all three, then if I talk about the Gartner chart, then AWS is the leader, of course. They are the leader in the cloud computing, and then we have Azure, which is picking up, and then GCP is at third place. Then uh, it's depend, I know that if you have all the Windows platform and everything, all the Windows services, then I think people are mostly going for Azure because it's a Microsoft platform and all the Windows and SQL, everything is Microsoft. So then maybe people are opting for that. But if you have some different kind of setup, like Linux setup, or if you have a different database, or if you have a kind of a I think big data or computing wise, if I'll go, then I think AWS is better. If I understand from my personal background, then people are mostly like if you are from big data or big query or all those things, and I think GCP is also very famous over there. Cost wise, AWS or Azure, it's depend again, like what kind of services you are using. Some services you may find here cheaper, some services you may find there cheaper. Yeah. AWS practitioner, I don't think you required any kind of coding uh, proficiency, because this, as I mentioned in the start only, that this course is also for, if you go back and then see my slides, then this course is meant for sales, legal, marketing, and every other people. So I don't think any coding required over here. It's just kind of understanding the uh, concepts, understanding the clouds, and understanding the frameworks and AWS architecture. Yeah. PowerShell we require in Azure, in AWS. How we automate in AWS? AWS, I think, supports all the language. Like I think they support Python. You can do in JavaScript. You can do in PowerShell as well. There are multiple languages you can use, but it's again depend up what kind of services. Like if you are going very deep, or if you are targeting for solution, even solution architect also, you don't need too much of the coding, because I have written the solution architect exam and I was not having any, not required to have any more coding experience to just pass that exam. Mostly understanding the clouds and understanding the AWS services. A little bit, of course, coding required, but most of the things are configuration. So if you just go back, as I show you, this AWS console, reinforcement learning is a separate account in AWS, or it's part of it. I think it should be part of it. I may see this one and come back to you later on this. What is reinforcement? Many thanks. Yeah, thanks, Arun. Yeah, it's just a kick start. We may be covering many more things in coming session, because if you see about my current course objective, I'm just trying to cover the first part only. And if you see the module part, module also, I just try to cover the AWS concept, but there's many more concepts remaining, which we are going to cover in the future sessions. Yeah. Thanks, Deepak, and you stay safe as well. Yeah, AWS Racer is something related to the deep pressure, Bharat, and I think it's okay. So I think what Bharat is talking about is the deep pressure service, because what I understand is like this is something in the AI world, and they have that deep pressure hardware as well, where like they use it's a kind of a Formula One circuit where they use to, yeah, this deep pressure what you were talking about, AWS Racer, and where it's a kind of you are writing your own machine learning model, and then uh, y- that machine is running based on your model, yeah, and you can do testing. It's all together a different world, and it might be not needed for this cloud practitioner. Yeah. Thanks everyone. Any other questions? Anyone having? Or yeah. Okay. Thanks. Thanks, Bharat. Thanks, everyone. We are just ending this session here, and see you guys in the next session. If you want, you can. Yeah, if you want, you can connect. So this is my LinkedIn profile as well as Anjani LinkedIn profile connection. If you want any questions or anything, you can always feel free to question or text us. Yeah. Is there any good Udemy course? There must have something, Deepak, Udemy. Udemy is paid, and actually why we are doing this, because it's a kind of a free session, and we just try to help the community to learn as much as possible. And this is the right time because most of the people are in lockdown, and that's why our attempt is to, kind of take as many as session now, and then learn everyone free. You maybe ping, text me. Yeah, sure. So thanks everyone once again. Thank you for joining today's session, and we will be covering many more things in coming more sessions, maybe next week or after next week. Stay safe and stay at home, and good night. ये अंजलि मामा ये देख रहा है कि भूल गए हैं क्या कि सेशन चल रहा है।